Do you want to be famous and have a top web TV show? Well, after today, you can. Welcome to the Toilet Paper Diaries. I'm Dave Crane, live from Dubai.
And this is Ernesto Verdugo, all the way from warm Houston, Texas.
So warm, they removed your hair after growing an afro for 3 months.
Can you see? I'm so happy. I went to the hairdresser the other day and it was a complete experience. And I think that's going to help me craft my virtual personality, or possibly my virtual personality was me with all the afro.
I know. Well, the thing is, now they've gone down to the wood, we can see the color of your hair and the color of your head, and it's a very good thing. So today it's all about virtual personalities, as I've mentioned, and by the end of the show, you'll have a much better idea about how to reposition yourself and your business, become a TV personality, and start creating content that will drive you through the roof and take your finances, hopefully, and certainly your persona to the next level. But first things first, before we go anywhere near that, I want you to share this page and this broadcast with your friends. Subscribe to Fast Forward, the group Fast Forward, which is where we're going to be hanging out tomorrow. Go to the Toilet Paper Diaries. That's www.toiletpaperdiaries.com. And once you're there, then register and get loads of free stuff from us. Loads and loads and loads.
And if you're watching in YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and also ring the little bell so that you will always know when we are giving you new videos, which is normally on Mondays, on Wednesdays, and on Fridays.
How long have we been in confinement, by the way? How long have we been stuck in these rooms?
Now, if I just need to quickly check, but last time I checked, I think we should be on day number 90. 92, oh my God. No,
it's
actually,
not 92.
It is actually 94. So we're basically starting already on month number 4, which is just absolutely insane. And you know, right now, I am for the first time starting to see that the world is already adapting. Well, first of all, we are starting with baseball. Baseball starting again next week, and I'm really thrilled about it. There's not going to be any people in the stadiums, but they have already changed the rules. They have already set everything to be set for the season in 2020 and 2021, which means that they are already predicting that this is going to go to 2021. Same thing is also happening in several things. I mean, all these people which are changing, they are already understanding that this whole virtual world is going to go all the way till 2021. So the reason why we are doing this specific show right now, it is because we are also understanding that this is exactly what's going to happen, and we're going to teach you how to master the virtual world by teaching you how to craft your virtual personality.
Absolutely. We've got some amazing stuff to share with you today, and also in our secret show on Fast Forward tomorrow. And we've got an incredible guest who we'll tell you about later on. So you make sure you don't miss that. He's one of the best speakers I've seen in the world, period. And he's joining us tomorrow. So we were talking previously about privacy.com, Ernesto, and you said you have to check out this site. It's a game changer. Do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, let me tell you, I mean, this was super good. And this is also very good for you guys if you are seeing that everybody's going now into the virtual world. Now, for everything that you do right now, they are asking you for your credit card. Whenever you go into the internet, they say, well, you know, you're going to do the credit card. And the ones I like a lot are those that I tell you, well, you know, we're going to do a free trial. But for you to actually get the free trial, you need to put your credit card. And then if suddenly the week goes by, or the 15 days go by, or the 90 days go by, or whatever the free trial period is, suddenly they will slap you with the cost. And even sometimes, even if you cancel, they will slap you with these charges. And what I discovered was a really cool website, which I'm going to just tell you where to go. So you can go to bit.ly privacy1. So I'll leave it there. And in this website, it's actually for free. If you can only do it one time, if you want to have several credit cards, then you have to pay something like $5 a month. But anyway, the way it works is you enter, instead of actually entering your credit card into the website that is giving you the free trial, you enter it into this other website. and then they create a real working fake credit card for you. So basically, you can just start the trial, and then afterwards, when it's time for them to actually charge you, you will not be charged. Right now, you don't have to do that because you have this website which is going to be actually protecting you from being charged whenever you don't want to get charged. Isn't that cool?
That's very smart business, and I love the way you say my favorite thing is freebies. I love the way you say that because you're not that tight.
I'm Dutch. I'm Dutch. What do you want me to say? Dutch people are really, I mean, they say that the inventors of the Cooper cable were the Dutch because by stretching the penny. So that's what you need to understand.
Well, I've seen you drop a penny and it's hit you on the back of the head because you bent down so quick to pick it up. You are faster than the thing, better than gravity. So there you go. That's the website you need to go to make sure that you go on and enlist. And it's a really good idea because for a lot of people, the business model is to make sure that you sign up and forget about it. And then before you know it, your credit card's been going bung, 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 bung for a long period of time. And I got stung by that many years ago really badly. But I completely forgot that I had it there. So there we go. All right, so today's all about virtual personalities. If you just joined us, and welcome to the Toilet Paper Diaries with myself and Ernesto. Make sure that you register and you get lots of freebies and go to toiletpaperdiaries.com. And we're going to be talking about how you can become a very famous person by creating that persona online. Now, there's a number of ways of doing it. There you go. Toiletpaperdiaries.com. Go to there and you can see beautiful pictures of myself and Ernesto and lots of episodes, over 50 episodes of podcasts and the shows from the last season and all the special guests we had. Anyway, talk about your virtual personality and how you get started. How do people get started? How do you manufacture your personality? How can you monetize it when it starts to take off and then you start to influence and you start to get more people? Well, Ernesto, who do you think is probably the best broadcaster of all time?
Right now, if you think of somebody which is an absolute master in broadcasting, it's going to be Oprah.
Oprah Winfrey is worth about $4 billion. She also, I mean, for those of you who are a little bit younger than me and Ernesto, which is most of the world, she was the definitive talk show host for a good part of 20, maybe even 30 years. And even now, she's not particularly on terrestrial TV, but her videos and her interviews and her channels, I mean, she owns the letter O. O is her magazine. O is just her thing. $7 billion she's worth. An incredible, incredible person. So what I thought we could do, Ernesto, is have a look at the style of how she comes across so people can understand how to interpret exactly what that means. So here we go. That's Oprah Winfrey. In case you didn't know, you can Google her and she looks just like that. Now she comes across as your auntie, your mum, your therapist, and your best friend forever. And doesn't matter who the star is that she's talking to. It doesn't matter because she just alters and creates this relationship instantly with some of the toughest cookies you'll ever see, whether it's a boxer or a rapper or it's a life coach or whoever she's got as a guest. They change their Wi-Fi code immediately to fit in with whatever she's offering, but it's because she leads them there first. Now, here's the thing, and feel free to jump in with this, Ernesto, by the way, because her personality style is very different. It's my daughter just give me a hug, but you can't see because I've got Oprah Winfrey on top. So but her personality style is she's actually a massive introvert. She's really shy. And you wouldn't think so because of the way that she nurtures and she creates a relationship with people. But actually, she is super shy. Now, she also spends her time giving parental guidance. And she qualifies that because she's so good at understanding where people should go. And that's what's created such an incredible relationship with the guests. She's very touchy-feely. Now, this sounds a bit creepy, but it's not. She hugs people. And if you watch a video of people that she gets on the show, that touching, that hugging, that connection means that they open up further than they would do before. So she's always humble and transparent whenever she talks on the show, and she tells you like it is. A lot of the time she says stuff to people, and you feel the audience go, ooh. But what actually happens is it ends up with the audience going, yeah, and the guest going, yeah. So she wants what's best for you. She comes across as loyal, and every Oprah Winfrey show became massive to the point where she lost and gained weight over so many series of the show. One day she's fat, one day she's thin, one day she's middle, all sorts. I don't mean it as an insult, but the shows all connect. Doesn't matter which one you watch, you just go, oh my goodness, this reaches me. And it's like therapy. You get your biscuits, you get your cookies, you get your cup of coffee, and you sit down and you feel comfortable with Oprah Winfrey. And that's how she managed to build a legacy, not just because she's a brilliant business lady and obviously a genius, but that's a personality. So you don't have to go out there and say me, me, me. She never goes me, 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 but you know that when she is there, you feel that you want to please her and you want to be there in her company because it makes you feel better. Would you say that's about right, Ernesto? How do you feel with that?
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there's so many qualities from her that we need to admire. And what happens is that she has set the standard. And right now, if we see Ellen DeGeneres, right now, if we see a number of other broadcasters are now following Oprah. I mean, and the reason why I mentioned Walter Cronkite, because of course, every time that we talk about broadcasting, we think of the former times of American Broadcasting Company or National Broadcasting Company or Columbia Broadcasting Company or British Broadcasting Company. So we think of the old times of television without realizing that broadcasting is now evolved. And now it has evolved to the way that we can also right now become broadcasters. In fact, this is a broadcast. We are right now broadcasting live. And this is the absolute essence of the virtual world. It's not about going in Zoom and being virtual. In reality, what it is a broadcast. So if you want to craft your personality, what you need to understand is that you are right now living in the world of broadcasting. And of course, I mean, if we see the superheroes of broadcasting, we have to name people like Oprah. We have to name people like Ellen. We have to name people like Walter Cronkite and all those people which actually led to this point. Right?
Absolutely. Just one point I want to make is BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation, not company. It's a little thing, but I just wanted to mention
all right.
it. I'm British. Okay, we can move on. So anyway, where do we start? If you want to become a broadcaster, now I studied many years ago, in fact, many years ago, to get into radio. And I wanted to be a radio DJ, but everyone was pushing me for a thing called a journo jock. And what a jock is a DJ, you know, disc jockey, but a journo is a journalist who's able to understand all the news as well as produce all the comedy and all the music knowledge and all the rest of it. And so what we're going to do is going to teach you a little bit about virtual broadcasting. What is a virtual broadcaster? Well, it's very simple because the world is changing so much. Let's have a think about that. Right now, if you go on and talk about something, whether you're talking about gardening or you're talking about shopping or whatever your particular niche is, you're expected to be somebody that can get the best information, true information, and share it with your audience. Now, that takes a number of different skills. And I trained as a broadcaster and as a journalist to be able to look for information. And my job actually, when I was interviewing people in the BBC, was to hold up a mirror to my interviewing guest and bring out the best of them. I wasn't to judge, I wasn't to make calls, and I would get told off if I did. It was to bring out the best in them, whichever way it was. But the role of a news broadcaster and a news journalist has changed so much. So what is the role? Well, we're going to find out by watching this.
First of all, it's a real honor to be a journalist in general, just number one, and the responsibility that we take on. If you want to be a broadcast journalist to be on air, stop. That's not why you become a broadcast journalist, because that's not what we're doing. And so I think the way that one can be a better news reporter is really focus on what our job is, and that's to tell you a story. My objective is to bring your story out. And if you can feel comfortable, you know, I want to hear what you have to say. And our viewers are more engaged in the story because they feel that instantly. So to get a show on air, it takes us about 8 hours, and it takes about probably 20 people to get that 1 hour of TV on air. So I think one of the misperceptions is that you show up and it just happens. The whole team has been working for hours and hours so that I can just sit there and express the news to you. Radio taught me how to use my voice and taught me how to write. They say you get to know somebody through their eyes. You get to know a broadcast journalist through their voice. What we do is to show a person and get that person to be themselves for the viewer. The challenge is how do we get that there? And I think that as we think of our craft as broadcast journalists is how do we get to know people in short amount of time and to know their soul in short amount of time.
So that's your first introduction to being a broadcast journalist. When you know how to position things properly, you can talk about almost any subject, and there's something about your knowledge that makes people believe you. And that's kind of important because myself and Ernesto, we've been doing this show. We talk about a lot of different things, but we come from it from a point of view of having a laugh, but also being quite factual. Do you say so, Ernesto?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, right now, as we were mentioning earlier, we have to go and start thinking ourselves as broadcasters, not speakers, not people which have to talk. I mean, I have seen so many people going into this broadcasting environment, and they do not really understand what they're doing. And the reason why they don't understand what they're doing is because also they don't think a little bit marketing. They don't think anything branding. I mean, every single thing that we are doing here, and that also you have to start considering is everything is part of your marketing. Everything is part of your branding. Everything is part of the new environment where we're working. Right now, I mean, if you see, we have a different studio from right now when we are in the Toilet Paper Diaries, which will look like if we are in a more journalistic kind of thing. We bring you the news. We bring you all sorts of different things. And we are basically trying to help you understand how the new normal in the virtual world works. And if we go a little bit further into what the way that we're doing it is, we are also including it with marketing. So first of all, you also need to think on marketing, not only on broadcasting. And I think that's just the big clue that people need to get.
Absolutely. And so, as you see, the backdrop behind myself is tailor-made for me, for what I do. What Ernesto's got as a backdrop, because he travels the world, or he used to before we all got locked into our own home prison forever, positions him as to what he does. And so you'll find that there's a number of different things about you that you can set up that really focus so people can find you, and you leave little clues. In fact, I've not seen your T-shirt properly. What does your T-shirt say on the front? Astros, Houston Astros, because you're in Houston and you follow a team that everybody likes and are probably the epitome of keeping to the rules, which is very important. He said, changing the game. So when we talk about marketing, once you've worked out who you are, once you've got the rules set up and you understand about journalism, and it's worthwhile learning about journalism because it teaches you to write and it teaches you to be effective and it teaches you to plan a program properly, then we have that element about marketing. And I don't know anybody who's better at marketing, certainly online, than this gentleman here, Ernesto. So tell me all about marketing.
Well, I mean, I think the first thing that before you start thinking of marketing, okay, right now, as we were saying, we are getting everything right so that we look nice, that our brand looks nice, that what we're doing looks professional. But then the next thing that we need to do is we have to start thinking, well, who our target audience is going to be. And this is where it also becomes very interesting. Right now, especially when we are broadcasting, we need to figure out who am I talking to. And of course, I mean, we are transmitting right now on Facebook Live, but we're also being watched in YouTube, but we're also being seen in LinkedIn, in different things. So who is exactly our demographic? And we made a very interesting discovery. It took us a while to figure out exactly who was the target audience specifically for the Toilet Paper Diaries. And we discovered that it was 60% men, 40% women, and every single person was between the ages of 45 to 55.
I checked on that. A large proportion of mine are 21-year-old chicks. I discovered that.
Yeah,
but yours, when you balance it up, then your older people make it about the age range you said. So please carry on.
That's true. So that's exactly what we need to do. So once again, demographics are very important. So first of all, we need to figure out how we're going to be working the whole thing on the broadcasting, which we're going to be covering on Fast Forward tomorrow, more into the details on how we're doing this. But I think the next thing that we need to really understand is the demographics. So this is a complex subject. So we have a very nice video for you to learn about it, because it's gonna be a lot easier than us explaining it to you. Have a look.
Demographics are statistics about a group of people that are quantifiable, so they can be put into charts and graphs. This type of data is also known as quantitative data. Common demographic data might categorize the audience with gender, age, family, class, nation, and ethnicity. You can add to this list education, religion, political allegiance, region, and urban or rural background. Another type of demographic data is socio-economic group. This divides people by the type of job and income level. These categories go from low-income groups at the bottom to high-income groups at the top. And it's said that the higher income groups spend more money than the lower income groups, and therefore advertisers might be interested in these people. So if a program attracts a certain audience, then the advertisers can reach that audience. In many ways, the media producers are actually selling the audience to the advertisers. Let's look at Heat magazine as an example of how audiences are categorized. Heat magazine's media pack identifies the audience as follows. There's a female-male split of 86% females to 14% males. The average age of the reader is 30. It has an age profile and it gives percentages for age ranges. SEG stands for socio-economic group, and that's 56% are in the ABC1 category, so that's the upper category of the socio-economic group, and therefore the ones that are likely to spend more money. Many magazines have an ABC1 percentage because of this. They give a marital status, so 48% of the readers are married or living with a partner, and 47% are single. They mention home ownership, 52% rent and 46% own a home, and they also mention the presence of children, so 34% have children under the age of 15. This type of information is very interesting for advertisers because they can decide whether to advertise their products in the magazine. So Heat magazine's media pack shows a very demographic approach to categorizing people through quantitative data. So data that you can quantify or count. The advantage of using this type of data is that it's quick to get hold of compared to psychographics, and it's very good at looking at a wide range of data quickly because you can put it into charts and graphs. The bad side is that it's not very in-depth. Saying that 90% of the readers are women does not give you a lot of insight into the types of women that might read the magazine. Having said this, when you combine lots of demographic information, you can get a wider picture of the audience.
I mean, you have to figure out who you're actually talking to, because if not, you won't be as effective as you possibly want. And we have a very nice message here from Jeff Smith. Our friend Jeff Smith there in the UK is telling us most people don't know who they are, and that's why they're not very good at marketing. Thank you, Jeff. Awesome listening from you.
It is boring, and it is all about data, and data is boring. But here's the thing about data. It's also more important as a currency than even money. Having access to data and having access to people is such a massive currency. It puts people into politics. It puts people voted in because they understand how to manipulate data. And it's why you end up getting stuff shoved into your inbox or stuff showing up on your social media that you didn't want, but it found your data and it found you. So it's interesting to see about the demographics. So then we've got to look at human nature. Once you've worked out what your demographic is, then you've got to work out who is going to be engaging with your stuff. And that's always a challenge, because when you go live, sometimes it's a real surprise to find out who's been looking out for you. One of the things is, before we go to the next video, is MTV, which I don't think it still exists now. It probably does a little bit, but people don't tend to watch it in the same way. But MTV, during its heyday, do you know what their demographic was of their most loyal fans, their age group?
The age group, yeah, must have been teenagers.
No, age 3 to 5.
3 to 5?
Age 3 to 5 years old were put in front of a TV to see grown-ups talking to them with shiny objects and lots of music and lots of bright stuff, and parents would leave them as toddlers because they'd just be engrossed by all the shiny stuff.
Wow.
I know, it's a shocker to find out. So I'm sure if I worked for MTV, I'd be very upset upset to hear that coming out because it was a little secret. So there you go. So talking about captivating audiences when you're going live and when you're working online, it's very similar. Difference is when you're on live, it means that you're actually a performer. And when you're online, it means you're a broadcaster. But here's a video that should explain more.
Have you ever had a presentation where the audience just didn't look interested? Or they seemed interested at first, then suddenly switched off? In 2003, the average person's attention span was 12 seconds. But thanks to social media, in 2015 our attention span dropped to 8 seconds. That's lower than a goldfish. Researchers say the optimum time you can hold a human's attention during a presentation is 18 to 20 minutes. Attention is split into 3 sections: sustained, selective, and alternating. Sustained is the ability to focus on a specific task or activity for a prolonged period of time, like when you're playing a game. Selective is focusing on one activity among others. Imagine being at a cocktail party, talking to a friend. Someone says your name, you hear it, but didn't realise you were paying attention. Alternating is when you're alternating between 2 or more tasks. So, how can we ensure we make more engaging and memorable presentations which captivate and maximise audience attention? We have a few tips and tricks to show you. Telling a story is way more effective during presentations than cold, hard facts. It takes the brain a quarter of a second to process and attach a meaning to an image, whereas it takes around 6 seconds to do this with words. This is how long 6 seconds really is. That's because we're visually wired. Ideas presented graphically are easier to comprehend. So why are we still flooding our audience with words and facts? You need to remember, even if the audience's attention span is 20 minutes, it will slowly decline as you go through the presentation. It's good to change things up. Why not find an interesting video to show? Or even ask the audience questions. Talking with the audience allows you to get a sense of whether they're paying attention. Also, getting them involved in the conversation will make them remember and feel like they're collaborating. Audiences remember 80% of things they see or do. Twice as many customers say interactivity is more memorable than statistics. So why not keep them on their toes? Studies say 50% of audiences are persuaded by visual presentations, and 67% were persuaded by verbal and visual presentations. You see? Making your presentations more engaging and visual will help keep your audience awake and interested. So next time you make a presentation, keep it visual, keep it quick, and use a story. You'll be sure to win them over.
And there we have it. That's about right, isn't it? Don't you think storytelling's probably the new currency when it comes to speaking online and offline?
100%. And look at how this is an example of every single thing that we're telling you. I mean, here in the Toilet Paper Diaries, most people, whenever they go broadcasting live, they are interviewing somebody and they're just having this conversation, which it gets monotone. And then, of course, the energy starts going up. What do? We are all the time joking. We're all, of course, having all our trying to have a bubbly, liking personality. But not only that, we are changing. We're putting videos, we're putting these, we're putting music, we're doing all sorts of things, which, of course, it's exactly how it should be done. And in fact, one of the things that we're going to be sharing tomorrow with you in Fast Forward is we're going to be showing you how Tony Robbins is actually doing it right now. In fact, I was just watching a video that he's just going live right now. I won't tell you where, because if not, you're going to actually switch over there. But he's basically doing this whole thing that we're telling you, but in a more spectacular way. So we know that this is the right time for you to learn how this is done, and that's why tomorrow you should definitely be in Fast Forward. And the only way to do that is by simply going to toiletpaperdiaries.com. And if you're watching in YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and ring the little bell so that it will remind you where we are.
It's like dancing to Night Fever or Baby
It
Shark.
looks like we're dancing the YMCA.
Yeah, let's stop doing that as well. But yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow's show is going to be fantastic on Fast Forward, but it is a secret show. The only way you can get and join us in there is by joining us on the group of Fast Forward. It's on Facebook. Make sure you click on it and apply. And if you're nice people, we'll let you in. It is very secret, but we go on a deep dive into all the content. It's actually a much longer show. It's about 2 hours because we spend a lot of time really breaking down what you need to do to be incredibly successful.
By the way, Dave, I think one of the strategies that you should talk about tomorrow, and I know that you have it in mind, but I just want to make sure that that you definitely work on that and we tell people about it, is how to create a viral video, which is another of those incredible strategies on how we can actually get ourselves, our voices heard. So you did something amazing this week, and you're a master at doing this, and it will be great if you can also share a little bit about how you can captivate an audience by creating 1-2 minute videos which are going to go viral.
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate the compliments. As you may know from watching the Toilet Paper Diaries over the last couple of weeks, I mean, we haven't been ignoring the news, but we have been semi-commenting on things that really mattered to us. And we did make a show, or a couple of shows that covered racial equality and diversity. And
we
Black
were
Lives
banned
Matter.
from Facebook.
I got banned. We thought I was using hate speech. How could I be using hate speech? I'm black. I'm not going to talk about. Anyway, let's not go there because they'll probably cut us off again. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg. We're still here. So I wanted to make a video that would illustrate a certain point. And the point is that whether you go for Black Lives Matter or whether you go for All Lives Matter, the two have to come together. But if you do talk about Black Lives Matter, then it also means that things get done. If you talk about All Lives Matter, then it means that everyone feels better, but nothing gets done. I won't explain too much. You'll find out when you watch the video. But the thing was, I couldn't do a video of me just talking about it because it wouldn't have the impact. It had to be something that's really slick, really well produced, something that if the sound was down, you could still watch it because the words are there. It had to be very simply done so all the message comes across with no ambiguity. And trust me, even if you watch it, there's been plenty of ambiguity when you see the comments that people have made. But it has to be something that didn't overstay its welcome. And I've had some incredible feedback, and it started some incredible conversations. And I also wanted to make it so it would be something that other people could share that had a little bit of me in it, but not so much that they feel they're compromising their own brand. So those are my parameters.
I mean, I understand that possibly it will be overwhelming for you to be here in the doing a show without really, because everything is about personality. On this video that Dave created, it's super simple. It's basically done with pictures. He appears only about 5 seconds just at the very end of the video, but the message is super powerful. So let's have a look. So, and the reason why I'm saying that is because this is how easy it is to actually create an impact, even if you don't appear on camera. But this actually reflects his personality. So let's have a look.
Question: should we say Black Lives Matter, or should we say All Lives Matter? All Lives Matter, right? Wrong. Why? Let me explain. If your house is on fire and the authorities arrived and explained to you all houses matter and did nothing, and your house burned to the ground, how would you feel? That's what's happening right now. Get it? Of course, every life is precious. Black lives, plus white lives, plus LGBTQ lives, plus Me Too, plus special needs, plus immigrants, plus animals, plus Bigfoot. Well, not so much Bigfoot. Instead, champion diversity. Really, diversity matters. Look at those happy people. Why? Well, you get a better society, greater immunity, better food, cooler music, and gorgeous babies. Look at those babies. In the workplace too. Diversity means working together, global reach, stronger beliefs, diverse opinions, smarter ideas, faster solutions, incredible insights, more staff loyalty, better decisions, job security, industry respect, greater retention, increased sales, more revenue, more profit, happy staff. Look at those happy staff. Diversity pays. Being a non-racist isn't enough. When you say all lives matter, it's a smokescreen. It means that people can hide from the real problem, and it ensures that nothing happens. Want to really make a difference? Take a stand. Stand up for what's right. Be the Avengers. Go up against a big baddie and make a difference. Become an anti-racism superhero. Use your privilege. Become a wrecking ball. Knock down a corrupt system. Let's rebuild it together. Brick by brick, color by color. Everyone's included. Blacks can't do this alone. We've tried. 50 years ago, Martin Luther King was killed. What's changed since then? So little. So for all our lives, we need you. Speak up and help us. We just want equality for everybody around the world. Black lives matter because diversity matters, because all life matters. That's why, to get this, you have to start with this. And that leads to this, which leads to this. Black lives matter, which means that all lives matter. Thank you.
Love that video, it's fantastic.
I mean, the video is there to provoke a certain direction of conversation. It wasn't to shock people, it was to give people a hug. And the effect of it has been quite across the board, but a lot of people have given some great compliments back and they are sharing it online, so it's become a bit viral. So I'm very happy with that. If you want to know how to do this tomorrow, I'll show you everything. I'll show you how I put it together and the mindset and the thoughts that went into creating something like that. So you can do it in your own niche for your own business. And you can do it on almost any subject. And it's very simple to do. So there we are.
There you go. Make sure that you go to the toiletpaperdiaries.com so that you know exactly how this is done tomorrow in Fast Forward. Now, Dave, one last thing on this topic, which I think is very important. Now, we are learning in an interesting way, in a way that it's not that we're looking for the elders so that we can learn from them, but we're actually learning now from the previous generation. We're doing reverse mentoring. Right now, I've been learning tremendously from my daughter Nina, and I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow some amazing secrets on how Generation C and millennials are actually having an impact. Now, do you think that you can have an impact? Let me just share with you, once again, staying out of politics. However, I think it is a fact of what happens. This Saturday, there was a big comeback rally for the president here in the States. And of course, I mean, he's facing a lot of opposition. And what I thought it was incredibly interesting was that a lot of TikTokers actually trolled him and basically kept the place empty. I mean, basically, there were a lot of people asking for these things. And this is exactly the kind of power that you can have if you know how to move the emotions from an older generation. And that's why our goal, I feel, is that we are trying to help the Generation X, which is our generation, and also the baby boomers, because right now, poor baby boomers, I mean, now if you want to insult anyone, all you need to say is, oh my goodness, you're such a boomer. And it's terrible, but that's exactly how it is, because of course they're just not getting it. So Dave, I know that you have been really doing a lot of, I've been checking more into the YouTubers, which are more into makeup and kitchen and cooking and all sorts of things, because of course I'm trying to learn from Nina, and also I'm learning about PewDiePie and other of these guys, but you have been learning a lot about gaming. So what we are basically trying to do is get those lessons and actually put them back all together with you. So we have a lot of incredible secrets for boomers and for Xers about YouTubers, the gaming industry, and a lot of things. So if you want to know about them, please make sure to keep on watching. Watch till the end this video. Make sure that you subscribe. And Dave, take it away. You have great secrets.
Okay, well, here's the thing, and we'll give you a teaser. We're going to go more depth to it tomorrow, but let's have a little look at the gaming industry, because the gaming industry you may have been observing or maybe not paying attention to. It's all the stuff about Fortnite and all the different things people are playing, and, you know, forget those kids. But here's the thing. If you were wondering where everyone went, they are not playing they're not watching Game of Thrones. Let's put a comparison on this. When Game of Thrones, at its peak, was getting 50 million people watching each episode around the world, all taking social media and, you know, is it Jon Snow? Is it not Jon Snow? All the stuff. At the same time, that phenomenon was nothing compared to the gaming world, where the biggest guys on the gaming world on Twitch, which you probably never heard of, which allows you to split your screen between the game and the camera, we're getting about 80 million people watching. Yes, and you didn't know that, but that's where the action was. So if you're wondering what the gaming world looks like, let's take a little glimpse of how to become a gamer, and I promise we'll rescue you in a little bit, but this will blow your head. Ready? Here we go.
I think well, let's go.
Guys, my name is Nick, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to start a YouTube gaming channel for free. So I actually make these videos every single year around December, and I think it's a good way to show you guys how you can start making a YouTube channel, how you can start making videos and all that kind of stuff even without any money, because there's a lot of people out there who want to start and they just don't know where, because everything costs so much.
So I think, Dave, I think it's great if we can actually just basically run them through what is happening. Because, of course, I mean, this is a video, I watched it myself, and it was too much. I mean, the violence and everything, what was happening. But basically, what he's doing, he's explaining how any kid could become a YouTuber by basically recording their videos. And I mean, you go like, oh my God, how do kids know so much about YouTube? Well, there you go, because there's a lot of tutorials in how to do this, right?
It's a completely different world to us. So for many people watching this are going, that's a little bit frantic. It's not frantic. This is a game. Believe it or not, this is how people relax when you're under our age. And so they're all talking. Normally with this, you'd have a camera going up. This guy, if we had a sound up, he'd be explaining exactly how you do this whilst playing the game at the same time. And if you're wondering how this actually pans out, these guys are so popular that they're sponsored by all the big boys. You name them, Red Bull, everybody, they're there. Who sponsors them when they go to the toilet? Now, let me just explain. When they go to the bathroom for bathroom break, they press play, and an advert for Red Bull will go around, or Eveready batteries, or whatever it is, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, doesn't matter. And it will just keep playing, and they'll disappear for an hour or for 15 minutes or whatever. Then they'll come back, and people were waiting for them. And these guys will do marathon sessions of 24 hours where they're just gaming non-stop and so on. Now, it looks really intense and it looks really in your face. And you're thinking probably, well, it's not my cup of tea. Well, let me tell you why. The lessons from there are things that you need to bring into your own existing industry, because this in front of you is a $180 billion industry. Now that seems like a lot of zeros. Let me explain in perspective what that is. If you took the NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLS. I'm not going to explain what they are. If you know sports, you will know what I'm talking about. Plus the movie industry, plus the video industry, and put them all together, you would barely make a scratch on that. This is esports. This is where the kids are at. $180 billion every year. And if you're wondering what kind of audience that brings in, check this out. 2.7 billion users online, quietly in their own little worlds, in their own little chairs, playing the games and not bothered what you or me or Ernesto are talking about, even when it's about M&Ms or gummy bears in his case. Now, Stop My Head Hurts is exactly the point. Now, we're going to be explaining all about the importance of gaming, the importance of YouTube and all the rest of it on tomorrow's Fast Forward show. But I'd like to sort of leave you with a little bit of an insight into how big this is, especially when you consider that these guys are online, and whilst everyone was in lockdown, they're going, well, hey, I didn't want to go outside anyway, because in a gaming world, you don't need to. This is a guy called Bugha, B-U-G-H-A. At the time of seeing him on the screen, he's 16 years old, and he took part in a thing called the Fortnite World Cup. You may know the game Fortnite. And what he did was enough to win him $3 million. And when you see his parents, they're just going, we spent a fortune on his education, and it's all coming back to pay us. And they're more than happy. Have a look at this.
Down to Booga! Doesn't even matter. 4 players, 3 players remaining. It's a fight out for the victory royale in Game 6. 2 left. 1v1. Crew still in it. T-Chubb as well, back and forth. And it might come down to a heel-off. T-Chubb dropping down those campfires. We'll see here. Crew following it all the way in, and T-Chubb goes down. Crew with a victory royale. Crew with 7 eliminations and the victory royale. The monster performance at the end of it. That could have just secured him hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even over $1 million by just that game right there with how he does. But ladies and gentlemen, there's no way anyone beats him. Your Fortnite World Champion, Booga! $3 million richer, the biggest individual prize victory in competitive gaming history. Millions watching online, and folks, he didn't narrowly win. He absolutely took the best Fortnite lobby in history and taught him a darn lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for your Fortnite World Champion solo winner. There's his family looking on. Hey, get double chicken. Get the extra meat, do the whole thing. He's buying, I'm going to tell you right now. And there's the dance. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to bet his dad if he's got moves like that.
Yeah, this is just absolutely insane. So if you are thinking that right now the virtual world, you're basically just entering because of the coronavirus and because of the pandemic, all these kids have been in this virtual world for a long time. And these are only gamers. We haven't even scratched the top of the entire virtual world. I mean, if we go further, if we go even deeper into it, it's going to blow your mind. So right now, everybody's, oh my goodness, how am I going to do my Zoom? How am I going to be working on my marketing? And these guys, and you know, these guys have been there for a long time. And what is also really very interesting about it is that the amount of money that it's floating on that universe, it's unheard of, absolutely unheard of. The average age of the internet millionaire right now, it is 14 years old. I mean, previously, the internet millionaire, it was the Jeff Walkers, and it was the Frank Kerns, and it was the Mike Filsames, and it was those guys that, of course, helped us get into the world. But right now, these are the guys which are actually leading the way, and that's why it's so absolutely critical. So, Dave, let's talk about good old Ryan, because good old Ryan, I mean, it's just
old Ryan.
Old Ryan, good old Ryan. That's what I'm saying, good old Ryan.
Goodness me.
How old is good old Ryan?
Good old Ryan, and I may be wrong, and somebody can correct me in the comments. I think he's about 7, or maybe he's 8. That would make him old. Now, he was the biggest earner.
5.
Yeah, or younger. Yeah, we can't tell. I don't think he ran about with an umbilical cord, but he wasn't far off. But the point is, from the very beginning, and you have to avoid being cynical here, because it looks like, oh, look, his parents are sending him out to work. That's a terrible thing to do to your child. Let me just put this in perspective. You thought that Booga made $3 million for just playing on his game. Do you remember how much Ryan made last year, Ernesto?
I think it was $54 or $56 million.
Now, this kid is talented. He talks, he's funny, he's cute. It's called Ryan Kadji. He's actually based in Texas. I think he's from Houston. It's your neck of the woods, by the way.
But what's the power from Ryan? I mean, what's actually what most of his videos? Anyway, you were going to share how many views were. I mean, do we have any answers?
Yeah, put your drink down. Put your drink down and then go get yourself a stiffer drink. 2 billion people have watched that video. 2 billion, I'll say again, billion people have watched Ryan
With a B.
eggs with a B, yeah, a little B, opening the eggs and seeing toys and getting all excited about it. Now, this is a phenomenon. Now, it's always been a factor. If you do stuff with kids, it can work out really well, certainly for the audience that we have here. But that is actually from Ryan's toy review. All he does is review toys. And that's a massive area of business. Tomorrow, by the way, in Fast Forward, we're going to be going through all the shows that you could make and the most interesting niches that aren't covered properly. So make sure you join us for that show.
A question that I think it's incredibly, incredibly important that most people keep on asking themselves is, where is all this money coming from that we never knew about it before we actually went into the virtual world? And my daughter Nina explained it to me very, very clearly. Says, most of what you're doing, Dad, is you're creating websites and you're creating products and you're creating all sorts of things. But the problem with that is that you have to generate traffic. You have to pay for advertising so that you can actually start bringing traffic to your website. The way that YouTubers think is, we create a video, we optimize the video, and in every single one of our videos, they have a lot of links. And all these little links are supporting a cause, or they are basically buy whatever affiliate product or whatever it is. So there's several things. And also what happens is that the moment that you become a YouTube partner, that means that you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of video views. Then on that specific moment, you start getting paid for every time that your video is seen. And that's it. So basically every video that you upload to YouTube becomes an asset. And if you start really understanding how it all works, I mean, just look at the amount of money that these guys have done with 2 million views. It's just insane. Brilliant. But it's an economy that we had never understood as Xers and as boomers. And that's why this information that we're sharing with you, it's absolutely mind-blowing.
It's. I mean, if you think about 2 billion views, that's like the people who went to see Frozen or the big Avengers movies. Only music videos normally catch that, apart from people like Ryan. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, it took about 40 years for that to reach 1 billion. And Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine, about 30 years. Gangnam Style have reached 6 billion. Remember Gangnam Style? That one, I won't do that again ever. And Baby Shark, that was 5 billion. And the biggest music video of all time is Despacito by Luis Fonsi, and that's 6.8 billion. So the bottom line is, kids content does work very well because more people watch it, and kids in their own ecosystem on their phones, your phone, probably their phone, and on their iPads are absorbed, and we know all the characters. And I think before we finish today's show, we should introduce them to the biggest YouTuber. And that if Ryan's the biggest earner, then this guy is the biggest name. I don't think we've got his picture there. Can we share the picture? There he is. Some people will go, I know who he is, but you don't. You probably do, but you might not. This is Mr. Beast. See, you were way off. Mr. Beast is 22 years old. Mr. Beast has 37 million subscribers, and his videos collectively have had 5.6 billion views. So I think what we should do, and we can probably play out on this, Ernesto. Tomorrow's show, we're going to go in depth about your own shows and what you can do and lots of tips and tricks and techniques. But I'd like to show you how this guy managed to gather over 15 million people in 1 year by showing you a video of him just in action.
The point that I want you to see, it's the excessive amount of cash that there is in that industry, because that is just insane. So if you are not seriously thinking, how can I actually use and learn all this information? Don't worry about it, because that's what we are doing right now. We are basically learning from that specific market and translate it in ways that you can also use it. So tomorrow we're going to be saying you don't have to do the crazy things of all these kids. You don't have to say, well, I need to start enslaving my kids so that actually I can start making money. No, what we
be funny.
That's not what we have to do. So basically what we have to do is basically learn the techniques, the different success clues that they have left for us and apply them into our business. So now that we're ready, let's just have a look at the crazy world of Mr. Beast.
What is up, low gangsters? Last to leave this roller coaster, car, toilet, bit of money. House wins 20,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. Last to remove your hand off this $1 million keeps it. How do you like it? Dude, I feel flexed. You want a challenge? What are you gonna buy with all this money? I don't know. Want a PlayStation? I would love a PlayStation. Why would you ever leave a $500 tip?
Because duh, we don't like money.
I'm so rich. Another day, another.
We're really out here doing it.
What other YouTubers are pulling 4 random people in a bathtub full of money around their town?
It's really specific.
Now I'm gonna awkwardly hand $100,000 1 hour to spend it. Just leave it there. Hold out your hand. Yeah. I got you, dude. Here you go. I want all this money gone.
Oh, no way! No!
Find out, find someone like you. That'll be $1. Thank you, guys.
That'll be $1, sir.
Please. Ah!
Me too.
You hit. Proud of you. Now it gives away money. You won! Always.
Ah, he's touching me.
Chandler!
I think I just saw a person. I'm actually leaving.
And now we're gonna try to plant the 20 million trees. Chris is gonna jump over the Lamborghini.
You might be wondering why I made you all get in the sandbox.
Why?
For a challenge, you idiot.
Whichever one of you survives the longest gets 10 grand. 10 grand! $20,000. What is this? Why do we still have this? The first ever Mr. Beast dealership.
Wow, so that's just a snippet of how he did it. If you're excited by that, you want to know the techniques, you want to know more about how you can create your own show, you can start tapping into YouTube, you can start creating all this stuff, that there right in front of you is the URL, the address you need to go to. You just go to facebook.com if you're not already on it now, go to groups, go to Fast Forward Show, and tomorrow, as well as having an incredible guest, which is Mr. Dov Baron, who's a genius. This guy is the #1 podcast host. He's a host of a #1 podcast for Fortune 500 companies, Forbes, Inc., and he's an incredible speaker and coach. He's going to be joining us on tomorrow's show. Plus, what else are we going to go through tomorrow, Ernesto?
Well, tomorrow we're going to, right now you see the crazy world. You see the amount of money there is there. It's insane. I mean, you see this guy basically throwing money away because these videos are making him an absolute fortune. And I mean, I was completely oblivious to this world until I actually start understanding that every video that we create becomes an asset. A lot of people have been asking us, well, you know, you have been doing the toilet paper diaries for such a long time. And how much have you been able to monetize? Well, you know what happens? Every single time that we record the toilet paper diaries, this video becomes 4 different pieces of content that go into our asset library. And of course, we are building an asset that is going to actually start working for us a little bit later on. We are already learning all these strategies. And what we're going to be doing is throughout all this time, we're going to be showing you every single thing that we learned, that we translate from the YouTubers all the way for you so that you can actually become a very good virtual entrepreneur, as all of the previous generations are doing right now. So make sure that you go to facebook.com/groups Fast Forward Show, which is the secret group where you can see what we're doing in Fast Forward. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe. That way that you can support us. And even the nicest will be if you actually leave a comment or let other people know about what we are doing, because we know that we are helping a lot of people. Dave, we're running out of time. It's unbelievable.
And remember, you can start a watch party. If you want to start a watch party now on Facebook so your friends can see what's going on, then that's great, because we're building a community, and that community joins us tomorrow in Fast Forward. It's a much more intimate relationship that we had tomorrow, but it's a really big, deep dive. And you'll also get to know some great TV show ideas that people aren't using but are really powerful for your niche. I'll show you how to make a viral video. And Ernesto, as always, will give you the real breakdown from the marketing point of view about how you can set up everything that you need. And if you can't wait that long, then contact us directly, by the way. And if you've got an idea for a TV show and you need some help, or you want more help with your marketing or your business, then always feel free to contact myself and Ernesto, and we'll charge you a fortune and make you a fortune at the same time. That's how it works. Rock and roll.
Yeah.
So
but I think it's great. I think right now these kind of TV shows are very, very powerful, and it is something that is completely innovative. It's just a hole in the market, because for baby boomers and for Generation X, they are still trying to figure out how this works. We have already figured it out, and this is exactly where we're going. So we won't tell you more, because we're going to see a lot more tomorrow on the Fast Forward show. See you. Bye-bye.
One thing before we go, one thing, don't press that button yet, because remember, if you think that we're not on the right track, Jimmy Kimmel has just hung up his spurs and he's run out of ideas and he wants to take a break for a couple of months. We're not doing that. Why? Because we're changing the game as we go. That we'll go through tomorrow. Thank you, Ernesto. Now we can go. Bye. Thanks for watching the show. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you watch all the videos over here. There's 2 choices for you. Or, of course, I'm Dave Crane coming from Dubai.
And this is Ernesto Verdugo coming from Houston.
And I think we should send a message. Hold on.
What is this?
Subscribe. Make sure you do. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on all the brand new shows, all the tips, tricks, tools, and techniques, and you'll get none of them. And what's even worse is we'll have to get proper jobs. So make sure you subscribe. I would love to see you on future shows of the Toilet Paper Diaries. You can put it down now, Ernesto. Put it down. Put it down and smile. Say goodbye.